Hold on. Welcome back, everybody, to HTF Bets, your live Thursday show here at Hitting the Field Network. We have a packed show for you today. We're, of course, going to have our Game of the Weeks where we have two major rivalry games in store. We'll get into that later. We are going to talk about some UFC, and then we also have our surefire picks of the week. So stay tuned because it all starts now.
Hit it, boys. What you talking about?
Welcome, everyone. As always, I'm your host, Tyler Karen. I do not have the cowboy hat to start the show today. I talked it over with Riley and Johan. They wouldn't let me bring it back, but I'm sneaky with it. You might see it, you might not. We'll see. It was my good luck charm last week, so we'll see if we keep it rolling. We're going to dive into our games of the week, starting in the NBA. We have the Grizzlies traveling to Boston to take on the Celtics. The Grizzlies come in as a 2-point favorite. Riley, tell us about the matchup.
I picked the Grizzlies last week, but I would be doing a huge disservice to Ja Morant if I didn't pick the Grizzlies again. After that 52-point, he could have dropped 70 if he wanted to. He was just having so much fun out there. That might have been the most impressive 50-point game that I've ever seen. But Tyler, Celtics, they've been hot, been a little inconsistent lately. They've won games against Philly, Denver, Miami, but they've also dropped games to Detroit and Indiana, games that they should not have lost. The Celtics defense the last month has been the best in the NBA. Their defensive rating has been 5 points better than the Warriors, who are the next closest. The Celtics, I hate to say it, they do have the tools to make a deep playoff run. They do have the tools to make a deep playoff run.
You hear that music?
What music? I
That
heard
music
trash.
of the Celtics. The
No.
Celtics gonna make a run in the playoffs.
No.
They can't.
They're gonna.
I
No,
don't
they're
think
not.
they'll make it to the conference
No, they
finals,
won't.
but they have the potential to. I don't have them winning against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies have just been so good the last month. They're in third in the West right now.
You heard that music? Did you hear that music?
You know, I feel like I'm getting hated on for being a Boston fan right now, but most hated, most success. You know
No,
what I'm saying?
I definitely think this is an interesting game. I mean, obviously, Boston has been, kind of gaining momentum. They were pretty shaky before the All-Star break, but they've kind of started to pick it up as of late. But again, they've lost games that they should have won, and they've won games they should have lost. So this could be a game that they could potentially win. So Tyler, I am actually going with the Boston Celtics on this one with you. And I think, because your boy Daniel Tice is coming back, I
Hey,
think that
Tice.
might change the whole perspective of the game.
I have a question. How over under Ja 30 points?
Over, under, over.
Over?
No.
Over.
Well,
did you not see what he did to Jakob Poeltl? Ask Jakob Poeltl.
Whoa.
Hey,
How many points?
Over, under.
That was one of the nastiest things I've seen in
that-
my life.
Exactly.
That's the dunk of the year.
But
Dunk of
I'm
the
going to tell you why you guys got to talk about the Grizzlies. Thank you, Johan, for deciding with the Celtics. Riley, yeah, so we touched on Celtics have won 12 of their last 14 with that first loss coming to Detroit, which was a 1 or 2 point loss. So, again, a game they should win, but still a close game. I want to talk about the matchup versus Ja, who is one of the hottest scorers in the league right now. We just saw a similar kind of matchup for the Celtics when they beat Atlanta at home, where Trae Young, he did finish with 31 points. I want to talk about the supporting cast of those teams, though. Trae Young finished with 31. Bogdan Bogdanovic finished with 25. Everyone else was just very mediocre in that game. I think that the Grizzlies follow in a similar pattern. I think that Ja, I'm okay with over 30 on that. But it's the supporting cast. I do think Ja has a better supporting cast than the Celtics do. However, the Celtics, the reason why that Hawks game was close was because Jaylen Brown went out in the first quarter. He's not expected to play. So I think that the Celtics,
that's going to be a huge loss.
It is, but the Celtics, the reason why they were behind early to the Hawks was they needed that time to adjust. They needed that time to figure out, okay, we got to get into rhythm without Jaylen Brown. They had that rhythm, and you saw in the second half they took off for the Hawks to get the 9-point victory, whatever it was. I do think that Ja is going to take a ton of shots. I do think he's going to score a ton of points. However, I think that Jason Tatum plays a complete 40 minutes. Defensively, they're able to control everybody else on offense, and this game will go under 223 and a half. That is my bet, is that it goes under 223 and a half, but I also like the Celtics in this one. So now transitioning from NBA to one of our two rivalries in our games of the week. We're going to let Johan kick it off. We got Manchester United going to Manchester City this Sunday at 11:30. Man City comes into the game with 21 wins, 3 draws, and 3 losses. Manchester United comes in with 13 wins, 8 draws, and 6 losses. The lines for this game, Man City is the favorite at a -275. The draw comes in at +400, and Man U comes in as a +800 underdog.
Right.
Johan, tell us about this game.
Yes, this is the Manchester Derby. Yes, one of the most important games of the season in the Premier League. Number 1 versus number 4. Right now, Man City is 6 points clear of the top spot in the Premier League. One thing that I love about Man City is that they play a 4-3-3 formation, and that really opens up the field for them. They have a lot of playmakers in the center with Kevin De Bruyne and Pedri and stuff like that, but they also have people up front. And the good thing about Man City that I love about them is that they're so deep. You know, you could substitute that front three with anybody, with Gabriel Jesus, Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez. You have arguably one of the greatest strikers of all time in Cristiano Ronaldo at the forefront. But at the same time, they only play one person at top, so it kind of limits them in terms of creating creating plays, and also kind of like free kicks and stuff like that, because they're not able to create so much opportunities because Ronaldo's the only guy up top. One thing I will say, this is at Etihad Stadium, so this is at Man City Stadium, so it's going to be very hard for Man U. And the last time they played, Man City actually beat Man U 2-0 at Old Trafford. So how do you think they're going to prevail if they've already lost at home? How are they going to win on the road?
Riley, what are your feelings?
And I'm taking Man City, and here's why. Man United's defense is mediocre at best, mainly because of Harry Maguire's inability to play one-on-one defense. He's not quick enough to keep up with the Man City strikers, and especially guys like Raheem Sterling, who you touched on, Phil Foden, who I don't think you touched on.
He's a beast.
But those two guys are going to get in the back of the net at ease. I expect both of them to score at least one goal. I'm taking Man City over 1.5. I don't think it's going to be close. I could see a 3-1, 4-1 type of game. Man City is the favorite in the Premier League for a reason. They've been sliding a little bit lately. They've been giving up that 1 seed a little bit. They only have a 6-point edge, but they're going to hold on. There's about 12 games left in the season for most of these teams. So Man City is going to win this game at ease at Man United.
The thing is, I think that it's going to be very interesting just because, Man City overall, offensively and defensively, are the better team. So it'll be interesting to see if they're going to be able to, at least get a draw on this one. But overall, this is going to be interesting.
There you go. Now moving on to the next rivalry game. This is my game of the week. And of course, it's North Carolina at Duke, round 2. This game is at Saturday at 6 o'clock. This will be Coach K's last game versus North Carolina in Camden Indoor Stadium. There's no official spread out. I'm guessing that Duke came out as I think it was a 3.5-point favorite at Carolina. I predicted that it was going to be about 8.5. I think that that Vegas showed way too much love towards North Carolina. That spread has to be higher after a 20-point blowout versus them last game. I don't think you should count out Carolina though.
Okay.
Both teams can score. I'm going to let you guys touch on Duke really quick. Then I'm going to finish off with North Carolina.
No, and look, I can see UNC keeping this game close, but Duke, when you have two potential top 5 picks in Paolo Banchero and AJ Griffin, you have way too much firepower that UNC cannot keep up with. But I will say this is going to be a very emotional game. This is arguably one of, if not the greatest rivalry in college basketball. And look, I'm going to be tuning in. This is going to be a great game, very emotional game, potentially Coach K's final time traveling to Chapel Hill. And this is going to be a great game.
Both teams do come in hot. Duke has won their last 2 games, 97-72 at Syracuse on Saturday, and then 86-56 at Pitt. However, Carolina comes in winning 4 straight too. And I want to touch on, obviously this is Duke Carolina, but I'm going to focus on Duke at home. They are beatable, and Carolina has a good chance to cover in this. They've given up. They've lost to Miami at home. They had a 2-point win versus Syracuse. They lost to Virginia, and then they beat Wake Forest 2 weeks ago on a tip-in buzzer beater from Mark Williams. You don't have the on-fire A.J. Griffin like we had in the first matchup. So I think that Carolina, if that spread comes out at 5.5, that's going to be a good bet to pick Carolina. I don't know if they'll win. They only have 1 upset win this year, but I do think they will cover that. And that's all the time that we have for segment 1. Stick with us. We'll be right back with UFC.
Cowboys versus Giants. Why? Because I am a New York Giants fan and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
All right, Jeff, don't tell me your winner, but who is going to the Super Bowl?
The New England Patriots
Oh my gosh. Oh my
God.
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God.
The
Oh
NFL is gonna
God.
the NFL is gonna make it happen.
Welcome back, everyone, to segment 2. We have a big weekend coming up in the UFC, and it's not for a title belt in the main event in this one. This one is all about Groot and Pride. We have Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. Covington does come in as the favorite at -340, with Masvidal coming in at a +260. These are 2 guys with some really bad blood.
Yes.
Johan,
gosh.
I'll let you talk about this one first.
Guys, the only grudge match that will be bigger than this one is Tyler Karen versus Johan Blanco. I'm telling you right now, this is so exciting. Think about this. This is the first time a non-title bout has headlined a pay-per-view card that's not named Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz since 2015 when Anderson Silva and Nick Diaz did it. That is very important. This is a grudge match. Best friends since 2012, 2013, and now they're bitter rivals. This is so important. Number 1 versus I think either number 4 or number 5. Doesn't matter. Rankings are out the window. This is all about pride. Colby Covington, arguably the second best welterweight in the welterweight division. He has the second best wrestling because Kamaru Usman has the best, but he's able to just put pressure on you and kind of break your will. But Jorge Masvidal is a dangerous man. We've seen it against Ben Askren, 5-second knockout. We've seen it against Darren Till, slept him. He's just a guy who's always looking for the finish. He doesn't want to put it to the judges. I'm just so excited. Fights like these are reasons why I love being a fight fan.
No, and then just to touch on what you said, Covington is going to come out fast and aggressive. 1, to set the pace, and 2, just because he does not like Masvidal. I mean, they were best friends turned enemies, and now look, they're finally getting this fight. This has been highly anticipated for years, and I'm gonna throw it back to Johan just to touch a little bit more about why these guys don't like each other.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of he say, she say stuff, but the general consensus is that Colby Covington did not pay Jorge Masvidal's trainer when he won the interim welterweight title back in 2018, and ever since then, their friendship has kind of been in turmoil. But it's more of the fact that they're both becoming bigger stars. And, it's kind of convoluting and kind of interrupting their friendship because money talks.
Yeah.
And the thing is that kind of the fame got in their way, I would believe.
I want to do direct quotes. This one is from MMA Junkie. Masvidal said, and I quote, "I'm hoping that the referee on the way pulling me off him slips on a banana peel and I get some extra shots in and really change his life and his face structure." These are two guys that do not like each other. And Riley, you said, I definitely see Masvidal coming out fast. I think that if it goes under, I didn't see exactly what the over-under on rounds is. I think if it goes under, then Masvidal is coming out the winner of that.
100%. 100%.
Masvidal is definitely the superior striker, right?
Oh,
And if he wants
100%.
any chance, he has to keep this on,
Yeah,
with
of
these guys
course,
standing.
100%.
Covington, another quote here from the media day. "I'm going to inflict so much pain on Jorge Masvidal. He's not going to be the same person ever again, and I'm not going to finish quick."
Right.
That's the part that I think is interesting. Covington wants to inflict so much pain and so much dominance on Masvidal. I think that could be a disadvantage for him.
Yeah,
'Cause
I believe the rounds are set at 2.5.
2.5.
2.5.
But if it goes past 3, again, it's Covington's game.
Right.
His game is made.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
His game is made for 5 rounds. Jorge Masvidal is always looking for the finish. So if it goes to round 4 or 5, he's not going to be able to get the finish at as quickly as he wants to. And the thing about Jorge Masvidal that might be exploited by Colby Covington, if Colby Covington is smart, is the fact that Jorge Masvidal loads up on his shots. So if Colby Covington sees the level changes, sees him loading up, if he's loading up on his kicks, close the distance so he can get into a clinch. If he's loading up on his punches, shoot for a takedown, because once he's loading up, he's not going to have that split second to react and defend on that. And it's interesting. I have Colby Covington winning this one. I don't know if it's going to go the distance. There's a chance that this fight might not even live up to the hype. There's a chance because Colby Covington's game is not that exciting, and he's not known as a big puncher. He's known as pillow hands.
Yeah,
that boy has pillow hands, if I'm being mistaken. But
And
I think that this might be a submission victory.
So Covington by submission comes in at plus 1,000. That's in any round. So by decision, that's where Covington. That's the heaviest favorite in this fight. Is Covington by decision is at minus 110. So that's where I think if Covington does come away with this, it is by decision. I think it's going to be 5 rounds of just going at each other, and I think Masvidal, if he has to win the first 2 rounds if it's going to go to decision, because he's going to come out. The last time I saw Masvidal with this much hatred, it was versus Ben Askren.
Right.
That was the first UFC bet that I ever did on a fight. Was I didn't get it in the book in time. So my dad said Askren's going to win this. I said no, Masvidal is going to win this.
Right.
Easiest $20 I ever made. $20 in 5 seconds. If I got paid like that, then I wouldn't be here.
And it is minus 135 to go the distance, which I think is really, really interesting because of Covington's cardio, which could be it's easily the best in the welterweight. And if he would be the welterweight champion if Kamaru Usman, who you touched on, didn't exist.
100%. I mean, granted, Kamaru Usman does exist, so Colby Covington will probably never be the champion in that division. But this fight is just more than a title. I've said it already. This is just about bragging rights. This is about saying who's better than who. This is best friends turned bitter rivals. And it's crazy to think that this is where they were at, because not too long ago, they were best friends. You saw them cornering each other. You saw them, supporting each other throughout their own success. And now to see that, they can't, like Jorge Masvidal saying they're not even going to shake hands after the fight, Colby Covington, and saying that he wants to put him in the hospital, and Colby Covington talking about his family and stuff, you can see how personal this rivalry has gotten.
Yeah, I don't see the two touching gloves. If that is a prop bet, I'm going. The two will not touch gloves at any point. I'd be very disappointed if there is. I mean, it is a respect thing after you finish just beating each other for 25 minutes.
And honestly, just to say, there's a chance I hope it doesn't happen, but there's a chance we might see the same aftermath as Khabib versus Conor McGregor, just to see how much turmoil how much hostility these guys have for each other. There's a chance you might be able to see that if something goes south.
All right, I want to to wrap it up, we just gave you, the audience here, a lot of information, a lot of different stuff coming at you. I want to dumb it down a little bit. I want us all to say who we have winning the fight, if it goes over or under the 2.5 rounds, and how it's won.
All right, so I'll go first since I'm the one who's been talking about it the most. But I'm going to go Colby Covington in this one, and I think it's going to go over 2.5 rounds because that's where he's favored at. He's not going to be able to implement his game plan fully until it reaches round 3 to 4, and it's going to be plus 1,000 submission.
Ooh, I'm going to say Covington, and I'm going to agree with you, the over 2.5, but I'm going to take the bet to go the distance. It's just because of Covington's cardio that I think is really going to favor him. I'm going to say I don't think it's going to go submission. I'm going to have Covington to go the distance.
I'm gonna go with Masvidal on this one. I'll lay down the plus 260, I think it was plus 260 underdog, whatever he was as an underdog. I'm gonna lay that down. I'm gonna go under the 2.5 rounds, and then I'm going the bet a little, win a lot, plus 340 by knockout. Plus 400 by knockout. That is, if Masvidal does win this fight, that is what is most favored in fast for him to win.
Right.
I don't see him winning by decision. He might win the first 2 rounds. Then from there, that's like where Covington will come into play.
Not bad.
So there are the bets for UFC 272 this weekend. That's all the time that we have for segment 2. Stick with us. We were 3-0 last week on Surefire Picks of the Week. Look at that, boy. See, it's good when we get along. But I still want them to lose this week. So stick with us. We'll be right back with our Surefire Picks of the Week.
Coming back. No way.
Welcome to the HTF Hot Wings Challenge. What do you guys actually do hot sauce like regularly?
No. It's like the least black thing I do.
Oh, wow, okay.
I say Johnny goes first on this one.
I agree.
The Buccaneers are going to play the Washington football team.
That can't happen.
It will happen.
I'm terrified.
No, I really hate it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No. You're wrong. If it wasn't for Kanye jumping up on stage and doing the, I'm gonna let you finish, but no one would know what it was with.
Nitros, dump truck. And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
Why is nitro thick?
I don't know how many squats I need to do to get up like something like that, but I will do it.
Oh! Oh my God!
Baseball, obvious reasons. Babe Ruth, if you want to go currently. I feel like that's just like a thing.
he jumped off the wall to catch the home run. We made it through all the way to the end. Thank you for joining us.
I'm never doing this again.
It was rough.
Yeah, y'all. What did I say last week? I wore this very cowboy hat for the entire show. I said I've had a rough season in Surefire Picks. So I said, if I hit last week, I will wear this here cowboy hat every single segment 3 Surefire Bet segment until I lose. And I'm going to keep the streak rolling because they might not like it. I do like it. Overall records on the semester, I come in at 2-4. Riley's at 6-1. Johan still avoiding a loss at 6-0-1. So, Johan, since I guess you're the king, let's start with you.
I don't want to go. I'm going to humble myself. I'm not the king, but I am undefeated, though. I'm going to stick with fighting because that's where I'm being successful in these bets. I'm going to go with this Saturday, UFC 272, in the early preliminary card. In the flyweight division, Tim Elliott versus Tagir Ulanbekov. Listen, I don't know what they're feeding those guys over at Eagles MMA, but Khabib Nurmagomedov is a great coach. He's been coaching these guys amazingly. He is currently undefeated as a coach. All his prospects have won. I think that's going to continue with Tagir Ulanbekov. I think he's going to dominate Tim Elliott, the veteran, and I think he's going to make his way up that flyweight division.
Right.
I'm going to go with NBA, just like Johan with UFC. I like to stick with my specialty. That's where I found a lot of success. This season, Warriors are traveling to Dallas to face off with the Mavericks. The spread is set at -2 in Dallas's favor, and I'm going to pound that bet. Dallas is going to win by more than 2 points without Draymond Green. The Warriors have been mediocre at best this season. This is not the same team without Draymond. They're not the same defensively. Steph Curry is not the same player without his primary playmaker. So Dallas is going to win by more than 2 points. Book it.
What'd you say?
I
They're
think
mediocre at best.
I think
Mediocre without Draymond Green, yes.
I think Riley here is confusing Steph Curry for his little bro Seth Curry. In that case, I would agree with some of the things you just said. You can never. That's like counting LeBron out. That's like no shot. It is Steph Curry. He's still one of the MVP candidates for this year. He's put on one of the craziest, it was the All-Star game, but one of the craziest showings I've ever seen in an All-Star game. Betting in your surefire bet against Steph Curry might be one of the dumbest things you've ever done on this show for a surefire pick.
So Steph Curry is having a good season, but not compared to his standards. He's shooting less than 40% from three, which is 7% less than his second to worst season. The Warriors this season are 4-5 without Draymond Green. So is that mediocre? Is that a mediocre
They're
record?
going to be 5-5 after they play the Mavericks. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah, no, and the Mavericks who, like, I don't know. I'm not big on the Mavericks, especially after the trades and stuff. Like, I Luka Doncic, he is that guy. Steph Curry is more of that guy. I will go with the Warriors on that one every day. Now, I wanted to go for my surefire. I wanted to go for Oscar Tshiebwe to win National Player of the Year. He's having one of the best big men seasons in college basketball history. He's currently 4th in single season rebounds recorded for Kentucky. He's going to pass if he gets at least 15 rebounds, which is very possible. He's averaging 15. He'll jump up to 3. All of those records were set in the 50s, by the way. Right. Oscar Tshiebwe is the first rebounder in this modern era to creep up with Kentucky's greatest rebounders of all time in a single season. But I'm not going to go with Tshiebwe because those odds come in at like -260 to -300 depending on what book you're on. I'm not going to, I could give you a -1,000 bet every week and I'd probably be undefeated. Instead, I'm going to stick with college basketball. I'm going to go to the Big Ten, and I'm going to go with Illinois -12.5 at home versus Penn State tonight at 7. Illinois has had its ups and downs all year. That's been no secret. However, they are getting towards the end of the season. I think Trent Frazier and Kofi Cockburn, they lead the efforts to beat this depleted Penn State team. Penn State just got blown out at home by Nebraska, who hasn't even recorded 10 wins on the season. So I'm going with Illinois at this one. I wish it wasn't 12.5. However, like I said, it's not senior night in Illinois. If it was senior night, there would be no doubt I would lay down 20 on Illinois. But they're good. This is going to be a nice, easy game for Illinois before they finish off their season at home versus Iowa, I believe, on Saturday, which will conclude the Big Ten season for them. What do we think, boys? Another 3-0 week?
I hope so. I hope it's a 2-1, so that way I can get rid of that cowboy hat. I'm sorry. It's not a good look.
Me and Johan are on the same page.
It is not a good look.
Well, me and Johan are on the same page with you never bet against Steph Curry, and you have one bet. You have to tell these people this is the one bet that you should take this week, and you're betting against Steph Curry.
Yes.
I just don't see it happening. So again, records on the year. I come in at 2-4. Riley is at 6-1. Johan is at 6-0-1. We won't have an episode of HTF Bets next week. We're all getting the week off for spring break. I'll be in Cancun. Riley will be home. And Johan, little plug here for Johan. Johan did just accept an assistant producing job for Fox 35 in Orlando. Shout out Johan. Everyone here at HTF is very proud of Johan. And he gets to start Monday. So no spring break for Johan.
I'm a whole adult now, guys. I am a whole adult. I don't have spring break.
A whole adult. So we will not see you guys next week. However, 2 weeks, I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty March Madness heavy show because by that point, it'll be after Selection Sunday. We are planning our full March Madness special for HTFN. But I'm still guessing bets will be very March Madness heavy, the best time of the year. That's all the time that we have for today's episode of HTF Bets. See y'all next time, and the cowboy hat is here to stay.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.